Hi everyone, I'm McKelty Bloom, host of Bridging the Gap's E to the Power of 3 podcast, where our mission is to encourage, equip, and empower every woman in her faith journey with Jesus Christ. I have had the joy to sit down with some amazing guests as we have a conversation about different areas and how we can be encouraging and empowering you in your day-to-day life. Some of those encouraging conversations have been around how do you fight against intimidation and comparison? What does it look like to find a godly balance in your life? And how do we find gratitude in every season of our life? We also have a special leadership edition where we want to encourage you and to provide practical tools to help you grow as a leader. Some of those conversations look more along the lines of how do we continue to lead in uncertainty when things aren't going as planned? How do we practically grow a ministry? And also, how do we create a multi-generational leadership within our community? You can subscribe and listen to the podcast on the second and fourth Thursday of every month. We really hope you check it out. Now, I'm going to show you a little bit of a sneak peek into what goes behind the scenes of recording an E to the Power of 3 podcast. Let's go look.
I'm Portia Allen. I'm a wife. I'm a mother to 3 boys, and we love the Twin Cities. I'm a former educator and principal, and so I love kids and all things related to people, actually. Mm-hmm. And now currently I am a speaker and a teacher, and I dabble in writing, dabbling in it, but just all over, just trying to be friends.
Yeah. And you have a podcast.
And I have a podcast. I am a co-podcast host. She Speaks Stories. And so that's a ton of fun because we get to meet some amazing, amazing people and hear their stories and hear what God is doing in their lives.
So good. You're a busy lady. Well, we're so happy to have you here. And today I want to talk about a concept of balance that I think a lot of just women in leadership, people in leadership and ministry can really struggle with. So how do we as leaders, someone working in ministry, or just somebody on the day-to-day, how are we that same person that is out there working, doing God's work as we are at home to our kids, to our husbands, to our family? Because we, we can get irritated, we can get frustrated.
Absolutely.
How do we find that balance?
I think that first you have to breathe, and that might sound like super simple, but breathing is so important to just for your physical health and for your mind to settle down. And then to set the intention of, I want to be the same person everywhere that I go, and to be honest and aware of what's going on within your own heart. And as believers, honestly, sometimes we need the Holy Spirit to help us understand what's going on in our own heart. And so with breathing and being intentional and asking God to show us where are we right now in this moment, then it allows us to adjust however we need to, not to adjust to be somebody different, but to adjust and be who we are. And so my husband always encourages me, and he was like, be your authentic self. And so I remind myself of that every time I go someplace. I breathe. I ask the Lord for his help in that motion. And then when I come home, I think about what is it that God has just done? Bring that same grace and kindness into your home. And if you're tired, acknowledge that you're tired, because then that gets the people around you an opportunity to go, oh, maybe I'm not going to ask her 1,000 times, said my children, this same question over and over again. But if not, it's a training opportunity, whatever. So.
Because it is really hard when you're out in leadership ministry. You can get kind of like this exhaustion from that because you're supporting, you're encouraging, you're empowering. And then you come home and it's like, ooh, when I am just tired and my kids are driving me crazy, how do I exhibit that same grace? I don't know, is that something that you've had to work through in your life?
Absolutely. And when I come home, I have already purposely planned to have some space. So either the kids have plans or I have plans or something to have some recuperation time, if you will, so that I can rebalance myself to being home and present with them. And that's been really helpful that they know, oh, Mama's just laying low today. And I fully confess that sometimes screen time is involved in that, allowing me to lay low for them. And but I think you have to go back to being intentional. What are you going to do so that your kids don't get your leftovers? And so whether that is planning time for them away so that you can recover, or after you've recovered, planning time with them, with your husband, with whoever the people are in your life that are supporting you, because that is so important that you have time with your people. You can't, none of us are an island, and we're not supposed to do life alone. And so my kids, I love them, and they fill me up. My husband, I love him. He fills me up. But if I don't give space for that, then I don't get to have that in my life.
So it sounds like really just establishing like that open communication and honesty of like, hey, I'm going to be gone and traveling this weekend for ministry. I'm going to need some time on Monday to recover, and just establishing that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, because when I don't do that, I'm not my best self for my kids. And I don't ever want to leave the taste in their mouth, or for my husband for that matter, of you're doing these things for the Lord, but yet you are so not pleasant to be around when you're home. And they have that space to speak to me if I miss it, because sometimes I do miss it. And so I go back to the Lord. What do I need to correct? What needs to be adjusted? And it usually comes back to breathing, resting, being open to the Lord, and talking with my family.
Oh, that's so good. Well, we love all of your leadership nuggets and wisdom that you share with us. So thank you for joining me today and sharing on that. And first time announcing here that you will be joining us again for this year's Sisterhood Leadership Retreat.
I'm so excited for it.
Woohoo! As a main speaker.
Yeah.
So we cannot wait to have you join us for that.
Thanks so much. I'm excited.